Welcome to our 107th podcast with our special guest, John Hibbs. Today we're talking about John's concept of the Monergy flow, which connects profits, people, and purpose. What's one thing you could do to make more money, surround yourself with people you love, and make the world a better place? Keep listening to find out. Welcome to Harmonious Workplaces, a podcast about corporate culture, organizational change management, and workplace behavior. Harmonious Workplaces was started by independent consultants to explore and challenge workplace issues and to build better ways of working. It's a blend of theory and practice, grounded in real-world experience, working with organizations of all sizes across a wide range of industries. If you own a business, lead a team, want fresh ideas about the workplace, or just enjoy listening to consultants talk candidly about how to make work more effective and more enjoyable, we invite you to sit back, relax, and dive in with us to Harmonious Workplaces. Hello, Harmonious Workplaces listeners. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Rich Cruz, an organizational development consultant, joined by, as always, Ben Kleinman. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey, Rich. Hey, everyone.
And Ben, we have a special guest today. I love when we have special guests. This is awesome. And this is a special, special guest, John Hibbs from across the pond. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be here from the sunny island of Guernsey, across the pond, as you say. So, yeah, great to be with you. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Not only across the pond, but somewhere in the pond.
Somewhere in the pond, yeah. So Guernsey's a tiny island. It's actually the same size as Manhattan.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, exactly the same size. We've got a population of 65,000 people. I think Manhattan is over
Is probably about 10 times that.
Yeah. And but
Not
we're
quite.
kind of like tucked in the English Channel. We're much closer to France, although we are part of Great Britain. I can see France on a clear day. I can see France from Guernsey.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can
Wow.
see Russia, so, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, John, you have this model that we wanted to talk about today, the Monergy model, right? Is that
Yeah, the Monergy flow, yeah.
the Monergy flow?
Yeah.
Right.
So could you give us just introduce yourself and the business and the Monergy flow to us?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for asking the question, because it is important to put this into some context. And I'm a typical man, just like most of us out there, and I didn't work particularly hard at school, and life came reasonably easily to me growing up, and but I thought I was just going to kind of sail through life and it was all going to be okay. And then when I went to university in London and I was sailing through, I realized that sailing wasn't quite going to be enough. And in fact, I was really cruising at university. I did no work at all, and they kicked me out, which was really shocking to me. But it was that wake-up call that I needed to go, actually, John, probably you're not going to be able to swan through life. And so after university, I started my first business, which was a personal fitness training business.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Wow.
I was really fit at the time, and naively, I thought, how hard is running a business? How hard is it going to be? It's going to be easy. I'm going to have probably the best business in London.
Yeah, that mind of youth, right?
Yeah,
Or indestructible.
at like 22 years old. So anyway, I started this business, and I looked the part, had all the branded T-shirt, and I was very fit, clean living and all that. And but I just could not make this business work, and for 2 or 3 years I really, really struggled, until the universe gave me a gift, and the universe does this from time to time. It gave me a gift of a new client who happened to be a business coach. And I had never heard of business coaching at this point in my life. I just thought the concept was ridiculous. Anyway, this was a really cool guy. His name's Les Hercules Callis, which is a strong name. He's Australian.
That is very
Yeah.
very strong and very appropriate for somebody going through a physical
Exactly.
transformation,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So he was an Australian coach living in London with his family, and he became a client of mine. And we trained together for about a year, and then I would go to his house, and we'd run in the park, or we'd do some exercise in the garden or something. I went to his house one afternoon, and he wasn't in his gym stuff. Like, he was dressed in a shirt and slacks, and so I was like, have I got the right time? And he's like, no, you've got the right time, John. He said, but we're not going to train today. Come in, sit down, we're going to have a chat.
Mm.
I am immediately, I remember this day, I was in panic. He's going to fire me. This is another client I've lost. Why can't I get this business off the ground? And he sat down and he said three things to me. He said, look, we've been training together for a year. I think you're a great personal trainer. I'm really enjoying it. I think you're a nice guy. I like spending time with you. You're shit at running a business. And so I was like, okay. I wonder, how does he know? How does he know this? He said, look, what I want you to do is I want you to give me free personal training, because if you can do that, then I can give you free business coaching.
Mm.
And I'm an amazing offer. And this is how shit I was at running a business. I said no. I said no to his offer.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm not making any money, and I don't want to lose even more money. So,
Right. But I love that he was tying some value to his time and his offering. So it wasn't just he was going to give you more than he was giving you, just paying you to be a client.
yeah.
He was saying, look, I'm going to give you something that's really valuable. It's up to you to extract the value.
So exactly that, Ben. And so anyway, a couple of weeks later, I'm on the phone to my mother, like a dutiful son, and we're talking about life, and I tell her this story, and she says, she says, John, I wonder if that was the best decision. So
Your mom is the most diplomatic woman on the planet,
yeah.
I think.
So anyway, I went back to Les, and I said, look, is the offer still on the table? And he said yes. And I changed my mind, and that was the best decision that my mother's ever made for me. Because at that point, my life completely changed direction. And he said to me, and so he taught me loads of things, but the two main things he taught me was, we're going to measure what's going on in your business, and we're going to use those measurements to start making decisions. And secondly, I think far more importantly, business is all about people and building relationships and connections. Now, let's fast forward 12 months. I have a waiting list of clients. I've got 2 full-time staff. I'm 25 years old, and I'm earning a great living. I'm working less hard than I was 12 months ago, and all of the panic and all of the stress has been removed, and I just can't believe the change. And
Sure.
and then I realize, maybe about 6 months after that I have created something that was sustaining me, was sustaining my 2 employees, was improving the lives of all my clients. And I knew this because they were telling me. They were saying, John, I'm feeling fitter, I'm sleeping better, I'm a better parent to my children, I'm finding it easier at work. And I thought, this is incredible. Les and I just reframed how we thought about the business and how we, interacted with clients. I wasn't working any differently, really.
Sure.
And suddenly now I'm having this amazing business, and the ripple impact and I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I'm just some guy living in southwest London, but the ripple effect was rippling, and
Right.
I just thought, this is incredible. This is incredible. So I then got invited back to Guernsey, helped to grow local architects here. Les came as well. He would fly into Guernsey, had a great time there for a decade or so, and then really wanted to help even more businesses if we can. Going back to what Les taught me now 26 years ago, which was measure what's going on, and it's all about people. And in amongst all of that, I developed the Monergy flow, which is basically a business model for understanding, in my mind, how businesses work. And we'll have a look at it in in a moment. But for me, there's a definite flow that happens in a business. Money doesn't just turn up. Something has to happen before the money turns up, and something has to happen before that. And then the other thing about the Monergy flow in life is that there's a few concepts out there that are maybe we don't often see, but sort of a really interesting thing happened to me maybe 10, 15 years ago. So I live in this place called Guernsey, as we know, and every day there's someone fires they call it the noonday gun. So we have this historic town, and outside the historic town in the harbour, there's an old castle, like an 800-year-old castle. And every day at noon, these soldiers come out and they load up this cannon with blanks, and they fire this cannon, and it makes a big noise, and it echoes around the harbour, and tourists love it, and we all love it, and it's great. And
like what happened in was Mary Poppins, where they
a little bit like Mary Poppins, where they have
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So instead of the many towns have a town clock or a clock in some tower in a church or whatever, and the bells go at noon, so everyone knows it's noon. Here we're firing a cannon off the ramparts.
Well, exactly, but we do have a clock as well, and the clock does ring. But the
bonus,
the cannon off the castle is a maritime thing. So you probably know that navigation is really dependent on good timekeeping. Certainly 300 years ago. So they fired the cannon so that all the boats could set their clocks at the same time, so that when they're traveling west, they could sort out their longitude or latitude. I can never remember which one it is, but so anyway, we've got this cannon, and then I was talking to someone, and I said, it's a clear sunny day, and I was like, the sun's right over Guernsey, and the sun at this highest. So we know when we think about time that before we had watches and clocks, we would set the time via the sun, wouldn't we? Using a sundial, and the sun would rise in the east, and it would be in the middle of the day. It's right above you, and that's 12 o'clock, and then it would set in the west.
Right.
And this old guy said to me, he said, well, what time do you think it is in Guernsey when the sun is directly over Guernsey? And I said, well, it's 12 o'clock, isn't it? And he said, no, it's not 12 o'clock. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, it's about 12:14. It's 14 minutes past. And I was like, no, it's not. This goes against everything I've been taught since a young boy. And he said, John, you've got to remember that Guernsey, just like the rest of the UK, is in this time zone called GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. You may have heard of it.
Sure.
And he said everyone in that time zone sets their clocks to Greenwich time. So when it's 12 o'clock in Guernsey, the sun is actually directly over Greenwich.
Okay.
And
Sure.
the world has to rotate like for 14 minutes until the sun is directly over Guernsey. And this was sort of quite a profound insight for me, because I was like, I had never considered before this that time had actually been created. Time was made up. And actually when it stopped working for us, and the reason we had Greenwich Mean Time was introduced about 1880, I think it was because of the railways. So before that, all the towns and cities in the UK would set their own time using the sun and convert it to the local clock. But when the railways came, you were suddenly travelling between these cities in hours, not days. And a much more accurate timekeeping system was necessary. And so I was like, okay, so we had this idea of time, which was basically just made up, but everyone kind of believed in it. And then when it stopped working for us, we changed it to suit us. And I was like, this sort of had echoes to what Les taught me with my business JMH Fitness that wasn't working. So we changed it and it became something else. And both of those things were just imaginations. And yet collectively, people believed in them. And we all believe in time, and that enables us to be in this podcast at exactly the same time, despite we're all over the world. And nobody goes, oh, I don't believe in time. And there's other things like this.
Sure.
Like money. Money's another thing. It's completely made up, but yet we all believe in it.
That's right. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's a representation of value, right? And it's so
Right.
And
Exactly.
this is completely fabricated, but so
Go ahead, Rich.
I was going to say, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, how can we tie this into the Monergy flow?
Yeah,
and
absolutely. We can.
show the audience that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Great.
okay. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi. I'm Hermie, the HR Hermit Crab. So, if you've ever sat in a meeting thinking, are we all talking about the same thing? I have a book that might feel very familiar. In my third cartoon book, Trust Fall Pratfalls, you'll find a collection of short, funny workplace moments. The kind that make you laugh and then immediately think, yeah, we do that. We cover things like unclear priorities, communication that somehow creates more confusion, leaders who mean well but miss the mark, and employees trying to make sense of it all. It's basically a highlight reel of how the heck did this happen? But each story also contains evidence-based valuable information such as simple ways to communicate better, practical ways to support your team, and small changes that make work a little more, well, workable. You can finish each story in just a couple of minutes and actually use the lessons the next day. Plus, it's a cartoon book, so you can leave it on your desk and be the envy of all your cubicle mates. Check out Hermie the HR Hermit Crab Trust Fall Pratfalls, available now on Amazon. Visit www.hermiehrhermitcrab.com or www.harmoniousworkplaces.com/Hermie. Oh, and if you see your workplace in here, maybe don't read it out loud in the next staff meeting. Make change your friend. Bye.
And we're back. So John is joining us from Guernsey. Was talking about time, and we're going to be getting into the Monergy flow. But Ben, you had a question here to tee up here.
Right. So we're in the midst of sort of talking about all these things that are very relative: time, money, fiat currency, that kind of stuff. And we're talking about, at the same time, how John had tried to start a business, and it was kind of there, but not really growing, not certainly not becoming sustainable. Attracted a coach, and that coach essentially flipped the whole paradigm. And so within 12 months, John has a booming business. He's got staff. He's sustainable. He's working less. He's bringing more joy to more people. His clients are happier. They're fitter. They're having better lives. And so I'm really curious, John, and if you want to get into the flow, the Monergy flow, and explain it through that model, that's totally fine. But I'm really curious, what was it that your coach Les told you, or what did you do that was that switch that flipped from floundering to booming?
So, I mean, there's loads he taught me, and I mean, it was really a journey of education for me. But I suppose if I can summarize it in one concept and one story, it was that businesses do not really exist, and you can create them in any way you like. And it's about perception. If you're trying to tell a story, and you tell a story in a certain way, you attract a certain type of person to you. And people either feel empowered by it and believe in it and come along with the journey, or they don't. And if they don't, you're not winning clients and not making money. And so a funny story around this. So, so I was young, I was very fit. I had the branded t-shirt. I looked the part, I looked great. I had a clipboard and branded material, but I had no money. As you know, this was a failing business.
Yes.
So I had to drive around in this really old, bashed up, like green 20-year-old car. And I would drive around in this car and go and see a new client. I'd park it in the drive. I'd go in, nice smile, branded T-shirt, go through the spiel. Do you want to sign up? No, they said.
Oh, okay.
All right, fine. Okay, next day, same thing. Banged up car, park in the drive, walk in. Do you want to sign up? No, they said. And so Les sat me down. He said, look, John, who's going to employ you? Like, they don't trust you. If you're a successful personal trainer, you're not driving that car. You're a failing personal trainer driving a crappy old car, and people can see that. It doesn't matter what you say. He said, what I want you to do, go and get a loan, buy a brand new car. I was like, Les, I'm not going to do that. I'm not making any money. I'm a failing personal trainer, as you know. He said, I don't care. People have to believe that you're successful. So I didn't want to do this, but I trusted him, and I'm checking in with my emotional resilience, because I'm like, this is outside of my comfort zone. So
Sure.
I go and I buy a brand new silver BMW, and it is beautiful. This is the first time I've ever had a loan in my life. And I remember the day I got this, I couldn't sleep at night. I was like, what if I can't pay it back? I'm in debt. This is dreadful. Anyway, stuck with it, believed in Les. Next day, parked my silver BMW in the car, walked in. I'm wearing the same T-shirt. I'm going through the same spiel. I've got the same clipboard. I'm the same person. Blah, 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 blah. Do you want to sign up? Yeah. Where do I sign? I'm like, wow. Day after,
Okay.
same thing. Park the car in the drive, walk in, same spiel. Do you want to sign up? Yeah. Where do I sign? I'm like, this can't be right. But it is. And, sort of from that day, it's almost like, if you want people to believe that you're a successful personal trainer, you have to be a successful personal trainer. And a successful personal trainer has a nice car, has all the best equipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, even if you've got to buy those things first and the money follows.
Got
Wow.
it. Okay.
Got
That's
it.
cool. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
it sounds like that idea of telling a story and using the story that you tell to attract the clients that you want. It sounds a little bit like marketing to me. And Rich, I know you're the marketing professor on our call here, but that sounds like kind of the role of marketing.
Yeah, for sure. It also sounds like a bit of theater, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
there's,
true.
you got to play
Performance art.
play
Yeah.
the part,
Got to play the
Right.
part. That's right. I mean,
Right.
Right.
and many other people have spoken about this, but people transition from being children to being like amazing human beings, like authors and astronauts is relevant at the moment. But like,
Right.
when do they become an author? And when do you really believe that you're an author, and that's how you make your money? Because when authors kind of act differently, they've got more confidence and the belief in themselves than people who
Sure.
aren't authors, who want to be authors. But really, what's the difference? Like, we're all human beings, right? That have all had our heart broken and had parents and been embarrassed and had some successes and relied on luck occasionally. Why are these great people who achieve great things any different from you or I?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
There's-
Um,
So how does this work with your model? Can you show us? the
Yeah,
model?
yeah,
'Cause
let's get into
my,
it,
My
let's get into it.
appetite's wet on this. This
Okay.
is great.
And so I have prepared something for you. So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
all
so
right.
for those that are not watching on a screen, the screen will depict John's Monergy flow, and we'll put that in the show notes so you can see that as after it's all built up.
Or if you're not
Please,
if
John,
you're
go
not
ahead.
watching on the screen, go and get a screen, because this is the best bit. So
Yes, absolutely. Go to YouTube. You'll find the video. You'll also find it on our website at Harmonious Workplaces.
I think, Rich, that's our new advertising slogan for people who want to watch the podcast instead of just listen.
There you
Go
go.
and get a screen.
Go get a screen.
go and get
Brilliant.
a screen. Yeah.
All right, John.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm
so-
taking us off course.
Most of this is intuitive, and most of this you guys and your listeners will already know. So, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold.
No problem.
So, if we walked down the street and we stopped people and we asked them and we said, hey, why do businesses exist? What do you think most people would say?
Why do
To make
businesses
money?
exist? To make money, yeah.
To make money. Absolutely. Bingo. There, we're off. And it's absolutely right that businesses make money, because that is where all of the wealth is made. It's made via business and via trade. So, imperative that businesses make money, not just to survive, but they do a whole lot of good with that money. Now, anyone who's ever run their own business or been involved in business knows that you can't just say, look, I'm going to start a business, sit down, pray, and the money turns up. You have to do something to before the money turns up. And do you know what that is?
You got to sell something.
You've got to sell something. Bingo. So you've got to sell something to somebody. Now,
MBA finally kicked in after
There
all
you go,
these years.
Chris. 2 for 2.
Payback. Now, most people would say, hey, there's only 2 things you can sell: a product or a service. And I believed that too for many years. But I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Aren't we really buying and selling experiences? And, when you think about it, the 3 of us bought a computer, a product. But that product is allowing us to have the experience now of talking to each other. I mean, isn't that incredible? Right. And Apple, particularly, have turned all of their products into an experience that you touch and you interact with, and the keys sound nice. And then there's products like clothes that we live inside. There's other products that we eat. It's, for me, it's all about experience. And you tie this straight back into parking the nice car on the drive, walking into the house, saying, do you want to sign up? It's not about, how much exercise I can make them do. It's about the whole experience of being part of JMH Fitness. I think all businesses are like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you have an experience that you want to sell to someone, just having that experience or that product or that service is not enough. You have to tell people about the product or service you've got. And what do we call that, gentlemen?
Marketing.
Boom, marketing. Now, I've been giving this talk for about 15 years or so, and I went to a school once and spoke to some tiny kids, like they were like 10 years old, and the teacher said, John, this talk's great, they'll like it, but they understand what marketing really means. So anyway, I said to the class, does anyone know what marketing means? And I had got like the textbook definition. And this one little girl, she put her hand up and she said, yeah, I know what marketing means. So I said, okay, well, let's hear it. And she said, it's being able to say, hello, here I am. And I was like, that is such a great definition of marketing, because most people think marketing is talking about your products and your services in a language that the market will accept, and trying to sell stuff. And I'm like, well, let's just think about what Les taught me 25 years ago. Business is all about relationships, and let's think about some of the best relationships we've got with our friends and with our spouses. They are not transactional. They're not about, look, I'll do this and you do that and then we're equal. They're not deals to be made. They're more than, aren't they? They are based on shared values or shared experiences or just a feeling with each other. And actually, the strongest thing you can do is you can stand on the street, have a website, or however you talk about yourself to the world. And if you can be genuine and authentic about who you are, then guess what? People who like you will be attracted to you. And they might not be customers, but they'll definitely be ambassadors for you. And they will talk positively about you to others. And that, if you can be confident enough to be genuinely honest about who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, etc., etc., you will end up surrounded by people who love you.
So there's an honesty, there's an authenticity, and that builds trust, and that builds some sort of ability to have a shared experience that you can both enjoy and
100%.
yeah.
100%.
Okay. Cool.
So we've
Cool,
got
cool.
money, we've got sales, we've got marketing. What's the next step in this?
So to be genuine and authentic about who you are as a
Uh-huh.
person is easy, but for a business, you need to create something, and businesses call it a brand. And the brand is really just the personality of the business, isn't it? It's their values, what they stand for, what they'll accept, what they won't accept. You know, and someone like Red Bull has a very different brand image to, say, Deloitte's. And you will have, you understand that, don't you?
Sure.
But as we discussed earlier, businesses, just like time and money and nations, don't exist. So how can something that doesn't exist have a personality that allows them to stand up and talk about who they are? And of course, it's not the business that sets the brand, it's the human beings inside the business. And
Love where you're going with that.
so, you know, most people start at the left here and think about money. I want to start a business, I've got to make money, I've got to sell something to make money. Okay, I'll develop my product or my service or my experience, hopefully. How am I going to talk about it, etc., etc. What they should do is they should start with their humans. And I think if I got this, yeah, here we are. So look at my little arrows. That's clever, isn't it?
There you go.
Start with the humans, build a fantastic team of humans with a shared purpose and a shared mission, and then you've got a good brand. Then when you talk about what you're doing, it's natural, it's authentic, it's honest. People will go, hey, I want to be part of that. Let me buy something from you. Then you can develop your products and services, and that's how you make your money. So
Sure.
in my business, everything starts with the humans. And when it goes well, you don't even worry about the money. All you worry about is your human. You touch on the brand, you touch on the marketing, you touch on the sales, you let the bank account take care of itself.
That is
It's
powerful
all about the
stuff.
focus. I'm sorry, Rich, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's very powerful. Start with the humans. That creates the brand. It's some of what we talk about with culture, right? Where
Yeah.
the people create the culture, which creates the brand identity. That facilitates the marketing, or your ability to be able to be found by the right people and the right audience, and then that facilitates sales, right? That just makes it easier. Like you said, John, like your perception of when you had the BMW, right? Facilitated your ability to sell.
Yeah.
Right? And the money follows there.
Yeah. And so
That's
then
great.
following on from this, once you've made $1 or pound here than you need as a business, what should you do with that money? And I think you should be reinvesting that back into your business, back into your humans, and you should be nurturing your humans. You should be providing connections, and I don't just mean human connections, although that is very powerful, but what about a connection to a purposeful work, connection to a secure future, and a connection to meaningful work? I think these things are really, really important. And of course, love. Like, we're human beings, right? We're built to give love and receive love. And I don't think we should shy away from that term and that word. Love is
And that's great.
it's a really powerful force. Now, every decision we ever make in life kind of boils down to two things: either because of love or because of fear. And actually, love is a much more powerful driver than fear. It kind of opens us up and liberates us for making better decisions. And then you plug that back into your humans. Now, imagine working for an organization where you've got a bunch of humans, you feel loved, feel secure, got really great connections to each other and the future of the organization. They feel nurtured. Guess what? We're going to have even better. We're going to have better humans, even better brand that's going to inform even clearer better marketing, you better sell even more stuff to even more people who like you. And that's how you're going to spiral up and make even more money.
It becomes a really nice flywheel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the added benefit is if you end up with an organization full of happy humans, guess what? They create happy families because they don't stay at work 24 hours. I know we want them to, but they go home to their families, right? And if you're miserable and stressed and dejected at work, that definitely filters into your home life. So happy humans create happy families. Happy families create happy communities, and communities are where we live. So that, gentlemen, is my Monergy flow, and that's how you're going to make more money.
That's brilliant.
Surround yourself with people you love and make the world a better place.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And those communities, they that will create more of that ability for the to facilitate marketing, right? I mean, facilitate the sales.
Facilitate the whole thing.
The whole thing.
I mean,
Exactly.
It's this whole flow that it's this sort of, it starts to become self-fulfilling. When you have happy people, they do good work and that attracts customers. And I would argue that it would also attract more happy people that want to come work for your company.
Well, where are you going to get
ambassadors.
your staff in the future? You're going to get them from the community.
Right. And it becomes very sustainable, but then it's also building happier, like John just said, happier communities. And it sort of becomes very, very positive, self-fulfilling and flywheel type of effect.
Yes, this is an excellent system, John. It's got the inputs, it's got the conversion, it's got the outputs, it's got the feedback loop, it's everything.
I think Professor Rich is going to give you an A for your project.
I love it.
Well, that would be very nice, thank you. So that's that's my flow.
And
Brilliant.
I'm really glad that you brought up motivation and put love in there as that aspect, because it is. We Ben and I have talked about various different motivational models. One of them, of course, being Maslow's hierarchy, and that love and belonging layer that comes after we have stability, right? It's that sense of being socially connected makes a ton of sense as a motivational factor to reach the next level of before we get to self-actualization, that level of efficacy, right, where we feel like we're actually able to produce, right? So yeah.
So so there we
Wonderful.
go. Now there's been lots and lots of very notable successes around people using love and putting people first in workplaces. I mean, the one that springs to mind is Alan Mullally's saving Ford in the early 2000s, where they were set to lose $17 billion, and he came from Boeing. He talks about loving people up and creating an atmosphere where you can put your hand up and say, I've made a mistake, and it was okay. And that was unheard of in Ford at the time. And
Sure.
It was unheard of at a lot of places. I mean, around that time, you're coming off of GE, I think it was, that had forced rankings. And essentially, if you were not among the privileged ranking, you were let go.
Yeah.
And everyone top to bottom was ranked. So very different approaches.
Yeah.
But
Well, John,
unfortunately,
I was going to say
go ahead, Rich.
we're right here at time, John. Can you? Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Can you tell us a little bit? Just give us a 2 minute or so. How can people contact you? A little bit about your business.
Yeah, thank you. So, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up there and reach out. I'd love to hear from you if you've got any questions about the Monergy flow. That'd be amazing. I do run courses on the Monergy flow and how you can tie that into your business, throughout the year. So just, hook up on LinkedIn and I'll tell you about that. My business I run now is called Coefficient, and it's an online tool to help you measure the performance of your organization, but from the human perspective. We use the Monergy flow as our business model. And that really kind of ties in nicely with what we do. And it's a platform that's designed specifically for business coaches and consultants who are working with businesses to help them understand the businesses they are working with, and we run what we call a profitable growth for all model, which means that we gift our platform to the consultants for free. Their clients pay, we share in that revenue, so everyone's a
Nice.
winner.
That's lovely.
And that's called coefficient.
Coefficient, yeah. And you can look at that.
Okay,
You can look
great.
us up online. We have a website, obviously, and the usual, social.
We will
media
definitely
things.
have links in wherever you're following us on Spotify and on Podbean, all those places, and YouTube, and then of course on our website. We'll make sure we have links of all. So.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, thanks a million, John, for joining us today. We
Really cool
are-
stuff.
I,
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. I'd love to see more of this, and so make sure you check out John's trainings and go to the website and find him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And John, at the end of this, we like to sign off with a bit of a toast and a reminder for everybody to make change your friend.
I've got some water. Thank you.
Right on.
I've got a big glass of gin.
It's too early in the morning for that here in Chicago.
No, look, thanks, guys. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you and
That was
talk about
really
the Monergy
fun.
Flow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
We're indebted to you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to Harmonious Workplaces. You can find all episodes, resources, and ways to connect with us at www.harmoniousworkplaces.com. If you enjoyed the show, we'd love your feedback. Please rate, review, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And don't forget to add Harmonious Workplaces to your favorites so you're notified when new episodes are released. Again, visit us at www.harmoniousworkplaces.com.